What's up, travel creators? Welcome back or welcome to the Travel Creator Podcast. I'm Laura. If you're new here, I'm a content strategist for travel creators, and I help them organize their content in a way that their type A BFF would approve of. I currently sound horrible. That's because I have been feeling horrible. The past couple of days, I have been knocked on the ground with a norovirus. We don't need to go into details. Just a lot of, it was bad. Things were bad. But you know what's not bad is reconnecting with some college friends, Wyatt and Rika, who, yes, we did go to school together, and yes, they are traveling the freaking world and sharing about it in an amazing way. I can't wait for you to meet them. Their energy is infectious, and this episode is all about YouTube. So if you're a creator who wants to do YouTube, or you want to know all the inside secrets about YouTube in the travel world, this is the episode for you.
Okay, so we're Wyatt and Reka, and
Hello.
Ever since we graduated from college, we have been traveling the world, and we actually have a goal of making it to 50 countries, and we're currently in country number 41, so we have 9 to go, and we've just been YouTubing and documenting our experience along the way, and it's been such a blast.
Yeah, that's pretty much. We're from the U.S.
Yep.
Rika's from Ohio. I'm from Washington State. And actually, us and Laura all graduated from the awesome College of Worcester.
Go Scots!
The College of Worcester. That's
Yeah,
right.
the College of Worcester.
I can't believe you've done 41. I can't. Can you even believe it?
Honestly, it's kind of weird. Yeah.
It's insane.
It's exciting. I feel like it hasn't really sunk in. It's kind of just, since we just travel, it's very normal. But when we talk to people about it and say like, yeah, we've been to 41, like I think that's when it's like really like, wow.
Okay, this is off topic, but I have to ask because I have been traveling so much and you have been traveling as much and a lot harder, meaning like, okay, I might go stay with family and like I feel comfortable. It feels like home. Whereas you've been doing this for so long, and I just am wondering how are you so burnt out? I get so, I crave routine so much.
Yeah.
But I also am on the go so much. So it's just like the hardest thing in the world for me. So I wonder, what is that like for you guys?
Oh yeah, it's the hardest. It's so hard. Okay, that's a really good question. I think we go back and forth. We also we don't travel like a whole year straight. What we normally like to do is we did a 6-month stint 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was way too long. We had to come back, refresh with family, and then go out again. And I feel like 3 months to 4 months is kind of our limit. And then we have to come home and refresh because it can get very just exhausting and very lonely. We have each other, but there's this sense of community you kind of lose in a way. Obviously, you're meeting people who have similar travel likes and people in hostels, all this stuff. But it's different when you're home with friends who know you, family who know you. Us missing that can really take a toll emotionally and mentally on you. So we definitely do get burnt out and need breaks. But I don't think we're burnt out to the point where we're completely done, right?
Yeah. We found this nice balance where we go for 3 months really hard, go to all these places and film and just grind, and then we come back and it's just the opposite. We just lay on the couch and watch Outer Banks. And
if we didn't have that, I don't think, at least for me personally, I could do that. I could get it.
I don't. It's so hard. It's so hard in that.
Yeah.
I just 6 months. That's a long time.
Yeah, and I don't know if you feel this way, but I also feel so bad talking about that sometimes because everyone's like, "Oh my word, you're living the dream. You are doing it. You're doing all the things." Which it's true. It's so amazing. You're going to all these amazing places. But when you're doing it for so long, it's hard to talk about the hard parts, but they're there. They're there.
I know it makes me. I get frustrated with myself that I am frustrated about the situation because I'm like, you have no right to complain at all about anything. And then I'm like, it would be nice to maybe take my shoes off somewhere. That would be great. Or hang my towel somewhere.
Totally.
Not walk with your backpack everywhere and your shoulder pain.
But now's the time to do it, We're not going to be wanting to do this.
True.
So
I feel like humans were nomadic creatures thousands of years ago, and I think we've just changed. Like it's so hard to be nomadic now. Maybe if we traveled with our entire community, but it's just
Well,
when
it's
it's
probably
one or
because someone invented like indoor plumbing, and they're
yeah,
like,
true.
why
Yeah.
move?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why go anywhere?
Yeah.
Okay, I have questions about YouTube for you. When did you start your YouTube channel? Was it right away when you left?
So I was the one to push us to
Yeah.
start YouTube.
Yeah.
Wyatt was very tentative at first. We started in June and I was like all about it. I'm like, if we're traveling, like I'm making a YouTube channel because I loved social media and like learning about it. So we started in June 2021 and we did it in Mexico and we had literally no idea what we were doing. Like
Yeah, they're still up.
they're still there. Like our videos are still there. But like talk to my or Wyatt's parents about it, like we do, and they're like, "Oof, yeah, we watched them, but like they weren't good.
Yeah. But at the time, right? They're like, "Oh, thanks. Like, great job. Keep working." But
We're still learning. We're still learning. But like it took us several years to really even like get to a point where I'm like, okay, I kind of get this.
yeah, we like never watched YouTube for fun, really. So we didn't know anything. Like, you have an intro. Is there
Yeah.
B-roll? Like, where do you put the music? Like, why are you creating this? We knew nothing. It was rough.
But that's the start. You have to like be willing to like put yourself out there and like know that like, okay, this is gonna suck for a while. And reps is everything.
Okay, that leads me into my advice or the question of if somebody came to you and they are doing this amazing trip and they want to share on YouTube, what would you say to them to do or not do?
Good question. That's such a good question. First thing is like, why do you want to share it?
Oh.
Do you want to provide enough value for an audience to get paid to keep traveling? Because that's like different videos than like, do you want to just cherish the memories? Do you want to share it with your family? So that's the first thing.
I think something that they really like, if you're starting a YouTube channel in general, not just even a travel one, I think everyone knows this, but what you really like truly, I think, need to grasp and understand before starting one is what consistency really means on YouTube. Because everyone knows you need to post every, like, however consistency means to you. It can be once a week, once a month,
Yeah.
whatever. But like, you need to keep posting. And like, I don't think that's something that we even truly understood going into this. It took us max like 3 to 5 years to really start getting to where we are right now. And there were moments where I was so discouraged and like I didn't even know if I wanted to do this anymore. Wyatt was so awesome. Fortunately, we're a couple, so like we can kind of take the load off each other. But like understanding that you need to keep posting, like that's kind of what separates the people that really make it
Yeah.
and then the people that don't.
And you hear that a lot, right? But it's so true. Just keep posting, because even if you don't realize you're learning stuff, you do, and you look back and you see how much you've learned. So yeah, we just kind of sent it, and we're still have no idea what we're doing, but we're having fun. So yeah.
I'm so glad you say that because I think people don't realize that nobody knows what they're doing. There's like there's no playbook in this career field.
Uh-huh.
We could have all gone and decided to be pharmacists or like doctors where it's very black and white what to do. But we have chosen the Wild West where there are no rules and nobody is there to tell us what to do.
Yeah.
And it's so fun, yet can be, I mean, so discouraging. Like, I think if you can consistently create content, you can do like anything you want because if you pull yourself out of that pit of despair of like, why am I even doing this? Then everything else is pretty easy. But I'm so glad you said that.
100%.
Yeah.
We really didn't know what we
so
were doing.
hard.
I think both of us, I think the most video experience we have is if we were to do like a video project in school. But like everyone's journey is different. But I don't think that should stop them from starting if they want to.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of us tend to do this thing where we'll wait till the perfect moment to start something. Or we'll tell ourselves we will start that thing once we finish this thing, or we'll start that thing once we get X, Y, and Z in order. In case you haven't noticed, X, Y, Z never gets in order. So it's just about starting. Wyatt and Rika started with no experience. I started with no experience. The influencer who you admire, who has 2 million followers, who has been doing this for a decade and makes so many figures you didn't even know it was possible to make that many, started with no experience. You don't need a background in writing to be a newsletter creator. I tell people who take my 7-day newsletter challenge that you don't have to be an email marketer to do email marketing. You don't need to be a fantastic video editor to edit videos. Just start and suck until you don't. You have to be okay with sucking until you don't. And this brings me to another point, which is something I'm actually going to talk about in another solo episode. It's playing the long game. Wyatt and Rika are playing the long game with YouTube. I'm playing the long game with podcasting. I help my clients play the long game in content creation because that's what will make you the most money, will be most successful if you can be the last person standing. But what is really holding you back from doing that thing you want to do? So let this be a reminder that you can still start with zero experience. And the people who own really successful businesses, if you tell them you're starting a business, they're going to be like, awesome, love that for you. If you tell the content creator who has 1 million followers that you're starting a new page, they'll be like, oh my gosh, yes, do it. That's what they would say. Just keep that in mind and just go for it. Okay, I'm done with the cliche. Okay, wait, I just had to come back in here and tell you that as I'm recording this, I just got a message from one of my clients saying, I have another project for you, Laura. See, if I wouldn't have shot my shot and if I wouldn't have just started this new inbound lead, this new inbound project wouldn't be happening. So that's not any motivation. It's crazy that this happened as I'm recording this episode, as I'm telling you about just doing the thing. Somebody's like, hey, I want you to do the thing that you started doing. Is this making sense? I'm sorry, guys. What do you feel like is one of the biggest things you've learned about YouTube? Was there anything you learned that surprised you that you were like, I didn't know YouTube acted like this, or I didn't know that if I just do XYZ, it will actually help me? Is there anything we don't know about YouTube that you know now that you didn't know before?
It's a good question.
Good question.
Going into it, I knew the thumbnail was important, but I feel like it's crazy how really important it is. And also, not only the thumbnail, this is another thing. I think we didn't realize how important the first 30 seconds of the video is. I feel like everyone does say that, but like it's so true, especially now on YouTube, because they don't only show the thumbnail, they really only show the thumbnail for like 5 seconds if you're like staying on the video. And then they go straight to like a little preview of what the first 30 seconds of the video is. And so that's really what they're going to see. And that's going to really determine whether they click on the video or not. So that's something that's super important that I feel like we didn't know starting into it. And we really eventually took the time to really focus on the intro. And I think that did wonders for our videos. One of the biggest things that did wonders for our videos.
I think one big thing is like asking yourself who you're imitating. Because when we started, we had no idea what we were doing. And then we tried to imitate who we were watching, which was like, and you can kind of see it like in our content. We like watched very few videos. For a while, it was just Mr. Beast. So we tried to start going like super fast, very little personality. And then not only were we not good enough for that, but we couldn't, I feel like that's not what people wanted. So then we tried to slow it down. And it's just been this like ebb and flow of imitation.
Yeah. And on that topic, I feel like something else we learned was who our audience is. And like, because at first, when we first started doing this YouTube thing, traveling, we thought that our audience was going to be just all US people that wanted to travel. But we soon learned that it's actually a lot of our audience are people from those countries that want to see us traveling to their country. So like understanding the audience is something that really helped us and motivated us to figure out what type of content that we were going to post that would do well, because it's totally based on the audience.
Yeah, travel is really weird like that, because like it's really difficult to get people to care about somewhere that's not their home. So getting someone to like from the US to watch a video about Oman, trying to get them curious about that is really hard. So I don't know, just one thing that maybe gets under advertised on YouTube is how hard it is to figure out what people want to watch. So like
Interesting.
it takes so much time to figure that out. So
Yeah,
but
we're still figuring that out.
That
But
is so interesting.
And like
Yeah.
we have no idea. Sometimes we try to go travel vlogs. Usually, it can be a few things: informative, entertaining, and inspirational, and also like personality, like connecting with someone. So we always try to kind of give a mix, I'd say.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like I I don't know for sure, but I personally I'm biased, but I feel like the travel industry is challenging in the fact that wherever you are, there's like different audiences versus like if you were to do more of like a knowledge-based YouTube channel, you kind of have that same audience and you just keep building that same audience. But with us, it's like with every new country, we have to like there's a new audience.
Yeah.
So like we have to make sure that like with every new country, we're really like creating that video that sparks the audience from that country
Mhm.
because those are the people that are really watching our videos. So like if we were to go to Amsterdam, we have to really focus on like, okay, what did the people from the Netherlands want to see?
Yeah.
And then we go and see what videos do well. And then we go on those trends. And then once you hit a new country, it's like we're starting all over again,
Yeah.
which can be really scary. Like it's always like, okay, is this video going to do good? We'll see.
Uh-huh.
And then once we kind of hit it, we're like, okay, we have a couple videos in that country.
Yeah.
They'll probably do good. But then it's like a different starts all over.
So yeah. Click.
Okay, well, this is crazy. One, have you ever been influenced by like YouTube analytics to determine the next place you'll travel?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. We come to places. We're like, this does so well. We're going there.
Yeah.
When you are researching, you're like, I'm going to Amsterdam next.
Mhm.
And you're trying to figure out what the people want to see from Amsterdam. Are you watching other YouTube travel vlogs about Amsterdam to see, oh, they shared about this castle they saw? Then that looks amazing. We should go see that. Is that kind of the extent of the research you're doing? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, huge part of it is looking at other YouTube because I mean, if it does well, you understand that's a trend, right? Trends are
Mhm.
what you need to like, you need to ride the wave of the trends. So, yes, we do that. But I also like to look at blogs and things because I don't want to like, I want it to be a little bit different. I want
Yeah.
it to be like us in a way too, not just like trying to completely steal someone else's
Yeah.
video because subconsciously it's so easy to do when you watch videos is to just like be like, oh yeah, they said this, so I'm going to say this about
Yeah.
this place. So I like to do a mix, but yes, 100%. I think we base a lot of our stuff like if they went and it did really well, and we also look at the comment sections of the videos of other people too, because a lot of the times people are going to give you
Oh, true.
suggestions.
Yeah.
So they're going to be like, oh, you should have gone to this place too. Like that's my favorite place. And so like utilizing comments from other people's videos, we can then go to those places that they wanted to see.
Whether you're on YouTube or not, looking at the comment sections on social media, any place that you show up, is a great way to know what people in your target audience want to know or want to see. There is really like no original thought on the internet. Everything we create is just our own iteration of something we've seen before. So I love this idea of looking at what your audience wants and then putting your own spin on it because we all have our own things to say about it. How clever. The power of analytics. That's so amazing. When you're learning about YouTube, are there any YouTubers or any like podcasts or books or whatever that you have learned from that would be a good resource?
We try to learn whenever we can. Jay Klaus, his podcast is really good. I think it's called Creator Science. Also, Colin and Samir, watched a ton of their interviews.
I think it depends on what you mean by learn. So yes, those are
Yeah.
great. Those are ones that we really learn on terms of like the industry, just like the YouTube
Okay.
industry and how we can continue to like market ourselves, I guess, and just like continue to succeed within the YouTube platform. But if you're talking in terms of like inspiration and like who we aspire to be, there's so many. I mean, I think everyone, if you're in the travel space, you know Karen Nate, you know like them. So like they're like
Whiskey.
Drubinski, Yes Theory.
Yeah. Even Ryan Trahan now is kind of like a travel vlogger.
Yeah. My personal favorite, they were van lifers, but now they kind of do like home improvements and they have a podcast, or Eamon and Beck. I love Eamon and Beck.
Mm-hmm.
But then also we have like, I don't even know if you'd consider them smaller creators because they have like 100,000 subscribers. It's such, the whole like small, big creators thing is such a scale Right.
Yeah.
It's also like just a bunch of BS, you know? It's such a bunch of BS because
It
I
is.
know a lot of people who have really big followings and it's like they don't make any money. And then there's people who have like itty bitty followings and they make like a ton of money. And it's like, okay,
Uh-huh.
this is all just crazy. But there is a lot to be said about credibility, like that number that you have. Even when I go see people on YouTube that I am either looking how to learn something or looking something up, and I see they have like 200,000 subscribers, I'm like, okay, well, 200,000 other people thought that they had something valuable to say. Me too. It's so much easier
Yeah.
to subscribe to people who have, it's just such a crazy psychological thing that is so interesting. But you're right. Like, does it have as much merit as we think it does? I don't know.
And I feel like nowadays everyone's saying it does like subscribers is such a vanity number, which it's
Mhm.
true. I feel like it some businesses and things still take it as like a really
Oh,
important
yeah, I'm
number,
sure.
Especially with brand deals. Yeah.
especially brand deals. But I don't think it should have as much merit anymore.
Yeah. I just think back to when I was little YouTube I did watch. I would like, if I saw someone didn't have a certain amount of followers, I just wouldn't watch their video because I'd be like, oh, it's probably
Yeah.
not that good.
Yeah.
Like thinking back to then. But now I don't know if that's changed because people don't subscribe as much, maybe. I don't know.
I feel like the number that should have the most merit is the view duration. How long people are watching your video should matter because that means your video is good enough for people to
Yeah.
watch it. Also, click through rate a little
Mhm.
bit as well should have merit
Yeah.
because, again, you see like the trailer and then the thumbnail. But I feel like those should have more merit because even though that you might not have as many subscribers, those subscribers might not be watching all the time. What really is important is people are watching, right? And that's
And they
what really
stick
should matter.
around
And
and
they
like the
stick around.
content's good enough. Yeah.
Mhm.
Speaking of thumbnails, what is this science behind thumbnails that you have unlocked or learned? I would love to know.
We have no idea what we're doing with thumbnails.
There's no science.
That's
There's
not.
no science.
I know
There is. But
people listening probably want like the secret sauce. It's really just keep tweaking it until it works. And I mean, some basic rules is like having a face on it usually helps. Color is good. Making it simple as possible. We've done some that have like an awesome castle, but it's like really far in the background. And now we like bring the castle closer. like adding a flag, thinking really intentionally about what text you're putting on there. How big's the text? Can you see the text? Like if you squint your eyes and make it really small on your screen, can you still read it? So like you got to just put yourself in the
Yeah.
position of the viewer. Like they're on a lunch break at work. Are they really going to be able to see that and care about the teeny castle in your thumbnail? Like, no, you got to make them see it, you know?
we've created a lot of similar
Yeah.
thumbnails
Our
at this
thumbnails
point
are
that
now
seem to
like
work.
very,
Very similar. If you notice, like it's a picture, we're like close up and then the country. And then we normally do the flag of the country. That's something that actually I think does work is the flag of the country, like
flag
Wyatt
helps.
said.
Yeah.
Because then that's something that really like, especially if we're trying to target people from that country that like, oh, that's my country's flag. They're going to my country. I think that is one thing that really does help. And putting up what city you're in the
Yeah.
text of the thumbnail helps. But really,
But it's a crazy, like how important it is to experiment. We're guilty of not experimenting because it takes so much time. But like if you can create a unique original thumbnail that's different, that pops, like, and especially if people haven't seen it before, like that can be huge. Which I don't
Mhm.
think we've done that yet, but we should try. We're learning as we do this podcast. This is good.
I'm learning so much too. This is so great. How do you manage your YouTube time? Because
Yeah.
video editing is like a joke. It takes so long. And do you have any tips, advice? How do you make this manageable? Because also when you're editing it, you're watching. Like sometimes I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. You're like watching the same thing over and over and over. And it's
Yeah.
like 6 seconds of the whole video. How do you manage the editing process? What does that look like?
yeah, that's a good question. It does I feel like a lot of the time it feels like it's like our whole lives is editing.
Yeah.
Particularly Wyatt. because Wyatt does a lot of the editing these days. So I do the base, which is like I put all the clips together, I cut them, I put them in chronological order, put them on a timeline. And then after that, I a lot of the times also create or put the music under it and like do all like the little things. And then he is the details guy. He is very much a perfectionist when it comes to editing, which is good because I'm not as much. We don't have the money or the funds right now to like have a help editor person or anything. So we've instead tried to think of ways that we could to speed up the process. And I think Wyatt's found so many that I think would be really helpful.
Yeah, the first thing I do after Rika does the bass is kind of like just speedily comb through it and find the coolest clips and then copy those, make them all in the beginning. And then I go to Epidemic Sound, which is where we get our music. Go there, find a really good song, which takes a while because the song is really important. and then I just kind of like tweet, like have fun with it. And I spend most of the time on the intro, just trying to make sure all the clips are stable, crop if I need to, change the order up, decrease the music, just make it all like create font or like writing text that kind of blends with the image. That's our recent development, but
yeah, but like what if shortcuts and things that have been really helpful? That's
I mean, keyboard shortcuts are key. Getting comfortable with the editing software saves a lot of time. We started with Premiere Pro and actually we moved to Final Cut because Premiere has the subscription. So we were like, oh, we'll just buy the one and then use it forever. So that took a while, but I think Final Cut has been a little bit faster too, which has been nice. So.
Yeah. And I think also another thing is you have to figure out what's just best for your mental health in terms of like how often you post. If you can't, if like you're editing all day, every day, and it's like not fulfilling you to make sure that you post 2 times a week, then maybe considering decreasing that to once a week or even once every 2 weeks might be another way to just like make sure that you're mentally fulfilled by what you're doing. Because it can take over your life.
Yeah. And quality these days with like people watching YouTube on TVs has become so much more important. So like some creators I follow, they post like twice a year, but I am there. Like I know it's going to be a banger. I know it's going to be awesome. So really focus on quality. Yeah.
Yes, quality over quantity. When you are taking on any sort of new project and you are trying to decide, how often should I post or how often should I send my newsletter? I like to pose the question of, are you a person who does better with tasks that repeat more frequently or less frequently? For example, I can crush a monthly task. No, that's not true. I can crush a weekly task. Crush. But a monthly task, I'm like, those 3 weeks in between those 2 tasks, that was tough. That was tough for me. So that's why I send my newsletter every week. Also, it's a good thing to do. But besides the point, you need to figure out what kind of creator you are, what can you actually handle, and then also what realistically makes sense for your schedule. So if you know that you're like going to be island hopping for a couple of months, you're probably not going to bring your like laptop all the time to be editing while you're island hopping. Probably just like not a good idea. So being really realistic with where you are, what's going on, what you have upcoming can help you determine how often you should be posting, because if you dive headfirst, oh my God, it would just become so overwhelming so quickly. And it's going to become overwhelming anyway, but we can help mitigate some of that overwhelmingness by being really realistic with our schedule right before you start. In case you didn't know, I'm also on YouTube. Like you could be watching this right now. If you are, hey. If this is playing in your car or in your earphones, hi. You can also watch my face speak these words to you on YouTube if you so desire. You can find me on YouTube by searching exactly what you would search to find me on Instagram. So travel content writing, travel creator podcast, Laura Haley. Those are all things that will come up on YouTube for you to find me, to subscribe. That would be amazing. Would love a little subscribe from you. Feel free to share this with a friend. Feel free to leave a comment. That would be crazy. That might be too much. I don't know. If you feel like it, I would appreciate it.
How are you organizing all of your footage and ideas?
We could get a lot better at that.
So could everybody. So could us all.
We usually just until the SD card runs out, we fill it up, download it. Generally, try to organize it by country with like a big folder, and then we don't back it up on the cloud. We actually have a backup SD card because we've had hard drives fail and like we lose many videos. So we have 2 solid state drives, so SSDs with the unedited videos, just organized by country name.
When we're moving it around and stuff, SSD cards are so much more durable and
They really are.
reliable. So we use SSDs for that. And in terms of the cloud, we don't have a cloud because, to be frank, it just takes so long to upload them.
Yeah.
It takes
And
like
the files are so big, and then you can upload like one video, and then you're like out. You're done. That's it. No more storage for you.
100%. Yeah.
yeah. So we don't have a cloud.
Yeah. How do you organize your footage and stuff?
Oh God, Wyatt. It is also a hot mess. Don't put me
Yeah.
on the spot. Are you interviewing me?
No, I'm curious. I want to learn.
I have noticed that it is so unhelpful for me to put in. I used to do it sort of by like month, and that is a trash idea to put like April 2024. I'm not going to remember where I was. I'm looking for the clip about Puerto Rico. I don't know when I was there, but I need it. So
Yeah.
organizing by place, so much better. I don't take a lot of long form video. I'm trying to. So
Yeah.
this is a very helpful conversation. But I have used cloud-based things in the past, but I need to learn more about things that are not on the cloud, because my idea was like, oh, I will put it all on a physical hard drive, but I have heard bad horror stories. So that's it.
I know.
Yeah.
And that's why I go back and forth to the cloud. Like I know it's very helpful if you can get it up there. It just takes
It's just unrealistic. Like
Right.
it would take so long to upload, download, to do that every night.
But I think
Wi-Fi's can be super spotty. Like if you're on an island in Vietnam, like
Good luck.
yeah, exactly. But solid state drives, seriously, have you heard of those?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, those are the move.
and I do understand the stress that comes with that. What we decided is kind of what gives us peace of mind.
You probably know by now that I work on a lot of things for you behind the scenes. One of them is a content repurposing program that I'm so excited to share more about with you. But if you are itching to know information about organizing your content like yesterday, you can go down to episode 2, number 2 of this entire show, and I'll show you how to create a content organization system. Kind of insane. It's in that podcast episode. You are welcome to go and listen to it and learn all the things. And then later, come and join me in the content repurposing program, where I will walk you through how to do it and how to be consistent.
Okay, when you are watching YouTube, maybe yourself, or you're researching, getting ideas, and you are looking at other creators' YouTube videos and you're like, man, that is bad. That is bad. I would not do that. What kind of mistakes are you seeing them make, or things that they're doing that you're like, why did they do that? Why did they do that?
That's a great question, because it definitely happens. And I think a lot of like that's bad is, it's like you can imagine yourself doing that and you've done it in the past. Like we have a lot of secondhand, like
secondhand
embarrassment, I guess.
Yeah.
I think one of the ones that just first pops into my head, I know we keep talking about the intro, but I see people just like starting a video with your face.
Yeah.
With like within the travel industry, just like starting it with you guys talking with like just a simple background, which I don't think that's bad necessarily, but it's just something where I'm like, are people going to really want to click on you if you're just your faces? Like if they don't know you,
Yeah.
right? They're going to want to see like the country. They're going to want to see like what you're doing. I think the intro is so important. So when I see that, and I have seen that before, unfortunately, well, I'm just
Even
like,
we used to do that.
when
Like,
yeah. that too. Like I'm not saying that they're bad. It's just a different style that I don't personally like.
Yeah.
I think that's a better way to phrase
And
it.
we've just found that, people, especially with autoplay on YouTube right now, like they're already watching it, but they need a reason to like click and go deep,
Mhm.
Yeah, our intros that have more going on, more drone shots, all the things, I feel like do
Yeah.
better.
100%. I think this isn't anyone's fault, but like seeing someone who's not comfortable on camera, I know it takes a while, but like
So long.
that's so important too. Just being able to, and it's so weird because it looks like this metal cyclops eye, but it's so important to remember that there are people in that camera.
Yeah.
So that's really
I also love when we talk, because we have friends now within the YouTube space, talking to them from their perspective of our YouTube videos and how
Yeah.
we've grown has like given me so much insight, I think, into how we can continue to grow. Their biggest thing with us
Yeah.
that I think was the camera and like how like comfortable we were with it. They were like, oh yeah, you kind of have this like persona on YouTube of
Uh-huh.
like, oh yeah, let's do this. I'm super excited right now about every single thing, even if we don't like it. And I feel like we've started to like become like normalize ourselves a little
Mhm.
bit more and ground ourselves.
And we still have work to do.
And we still do,
Yeah,
but
because it's so hard,
but talking to them about it now, they're like, yeah, you've totally, I feel like,
calm down.
calmed down. And I feel like we like that more.
Yeah. And I think that's also been because YouTube has calmed down. It's less theatrical and more like a show that like calmer tones, which is
That's so
good.
true.
And people are so more willing to hear negative things, not negative things, but like honest reviews, I
Yeah.
think now.
I have heard advice, and you can debunk this perhaps, that if you find a YouTube format, so like you create a video and it does well, whatever well means for you.
Yeah.
And you're like, great, cool, it did well. Do you ever repeat that same format? Like, cool, we did the intro with the XYZ shots, blah, blah, blah. Then we're in Amsterdam and we're going to go try food first. Then we're going to go to like, when a video works, do you try and replicate what you did before?
Yes.
Down to the thumbnail. Yes.
Yeah. Like our first time in Argentina video, we were walking around Buenos Aires and there's like a couple sketchy things. So we put, I think it's like a Vivaldi old orchestra, like put that music and then had the sketchy things and people loved it. Like they were like, whoa. And they watched the whole video. So then we did the same thing in Chile. People loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I feel like our whole format of how we do things has totally continued to be the same because of how good it's doing. We always start with a first impressions video. Always.
Yeah.
Because that's
People
what
love it.
people love those the most.
Yeah.
And then we always do a food tour,
Mhm.
and then we always do like something else. And that
Yeah.
is kind of dealer's choice depending on the country. But for every country, we always do a first impressions video and we always do a food tour
Yeah.
because we know those videos do so well. And we always do very similar thumbnails to what we do in the
Yeah.
other countries.
Which is something we should work on. I honestly think we should start experimenting more because we kind of fell into this.
If you guys decide to experiment and you do it for like the next X number of videos, come back and we'll talk about, look at your analytics and we'll talk about what
how it's changed.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, I have a challenge for you. I want you, after listening to this, or pause this if you want, but then don't forget to come back because we're not done. We're not done. Go to a platform you share content on, like a lot, and go find your highest performing post from the past 6 months or a month even if you're curious. And I want you to look at it and I want you to analyze it and I want you to figure out, how can I make more from this? Like, what is the main theme we're getting at here? Why do I think it did well? Was it because it was funny? Was it because it was really good advice? I challenge you to go and do this and then report back to me on Instagram.
Where are you guys going next? Are you even planned?
No. But the next country within the YouTube sphere is going to be Vienna, Austria.
Yeah.
We're going to Vienna, Austria in the videos.
Christmas markets.
Yeah, we're really excited. I'm really excited.
It was so fun.
It was very fun. So we're in Eastern Europe right now, but we have so many videos. We haven't even really gotten into our around the world trip that we just did on YouTube. So
yeah,
plenty to come.
It'll go Austria, England, Iceland, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Hawaii, Australia, Hong Kong, Korea, China, Macau, Vietnam, Maldives, UAE, Oman, and then we're present.
So that's how many videos we have left to edit.
So we need to get faster at editing is what we're saying.
So we have very many videos to go, which means we're actually taking quite a big stint of a break this time at home just to get us back on track, because we've noticed doing the Romania video while we were still in Romania, we just decided to do it. It's always better getting help from comments and people who are interested in seeing stuff, them seeing it, and then us still having the opportunities to go to those places really helps.
It was great. I mean, they were like, "Hey, you got to go here. Like, try this food."
Mhm.
We ate Mexican food our first day in Bucharest, and they're like, "Don't eat that. Go here instead."
Comments are everything. They not only help search engine optimization, comments are everything, but you just get to meet people, you get to
Build
understand,
community,
build
yeah,
community, and you get to understand what people are looking for.
yeah.
Comments are everything. But anyways, back
Where
to the
were-
original point. We have no idea where we're going next.
Anything else you would like to say about YouTube to feel good about YouTube advice? You have some amazing advice, but is there anything else that you're like, I just want to say this about YouTube and I'll be great?
Yes, I actually do have something I want to say. So you asked the question, what is something that's super easy about YouTube that goes a long way? And there's
Yeah.
two things that I want to say. First is subtitles. So there's a section on YouTube that you can do automated subtitles and then like captions in English or whatever your language is.
Yeah.
And then you can translate them automatically to other languages. Especially in the travel industry, subtitles are very important. What's the percentage of people that watch us with subtitles?
60%. It's
60%.
crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So taking the time to really make sure that your subtitles and your captions are correct and then automating those into the different languages has really, really gone a long way for us. We didn't do it at first. I think we just started doing it this year.
YouTube does do automatic subtitles, but we've actually started, like, we found that other websites can do it better, and you can download the SRT file and then upload it, and it just saves time correcting, because like YouTube would get like Rika and my name wrong all the time, the place's name wrong all the time.
They still never get Rika right.
Yeah. RIKA.
Even in the AI website we use v.io. That's what we use for it's like an AI website transcriber, which really does well. But there's still some things you have to go through, but for the most part it does much better. I agree.
And then you upload and then just like add all the languages you want. We usually do about 20 of like the most common around the world, because it's like one of those things that's low. It is kind of low effort, right? It just takes like an extra 30 minutes to do all that. But most of the world doesn't speak English. So opening up your content to the rest of the world is kind of like, we have viewers, especially once you've been to different places, because then people want to follow you. So
that one's super big for me, I think. And then another thing is more of like an editing process thing, but really taking a second to focus on music. This is something super recently that I've
doubled
really
down on.
I think we both doubled down on after talking to other creators and stuff, is that your music can really just totally change the plot line, change the whole vibe of your video. Even if it's the same things you're saying, the same places you're going, the music is super, super big. And I feel like we put effort into the music, but not as much as we do now. And I think that it's really paid off, at least for me personally, like my enjoyment of watching the videos. And I think when I've talked to other creators who watch us, them as well.
Yeah. It can change the whole vibe.
I think you're so right. Picking the music is such a pain.
It's such a pain.
It's so hard.
Sometimes, like, you're just over it and you're like, okay, this is okay, whatever. But like, if you do take that extra 10 minutes to like find one, it can really change. Like, there's been so many times where people come up to me now, like there's like a song that I'm like, this is such a good song, I'm gonna put it in there. And then I had people who watched the video, I loved this song. Like,
You're like, I have spent hours editing, filming, creating this piece of content, and you're commenting about the song.
I know. We traveled 7,000 miles.
But that
Love the song.
that just showcases how important it is.
Yeah.
Like it's pathos, right? Pathos.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That emotion.
Yeah.
Bringing us back. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. You have so many good tips, so much good advice. I can't believe I learned so much. This is going to be an episode I'm going to come back and listen to personally.
Hey, wow.
If you should like start a YouTube course or something. Like, really, you know so much. There is so much good advice here from Wyatt and Reyka on YouTube in the travel creator space. It's seriously insane. I appreciate them so much for sharing this much information. I find it so valuable. If you want to connect with Wyatt and Reyka, you can do so on Instagram at Wyatt and Reyka. Very easy. Also, I would like to give them a shout out because when we recorded this podcast episode not very long ago, they had 18,000 subscribers on YouTube.
and now they have 25.3. That happened quickly. Congrats, Wyatt and Rika. You are crushing the game and are an inspiration and just infectious. And I appreciate you for being here. If you want to subscribe to their YouTube, it is also Wyatt and Rika. You can find it in their Instagram bio as well. But I would also love to hear from you. What do you want to know about travel content? What questions do you have about being a creator in 2025? I would love to answer them for you. Feel free to send me a message on Instagram letting me know you listened at Travel Content Writing. I will see you next week. I'm going to go blow my nose, but I wish you the happiest of creating.